Good afternoon, students. Today we will see the remaining things which has been covered in this data center automation of virtualization. So first we will see cloud operating system for virtualized data centers, and later we will discuss about the trust management in virtualized data centers. Today we will see some examples and what are the clouds we are using, what they are following, and what are the some infrastructures like what is an operating system using in different environments will be means in like commercial cloud or anything. We will discuss here. So the first one is a cloud operating system for virtualized data centers. Likewise, in earlier in the previous class, I described there are the four such managers are there, or the four such environments are there to support this virtualization infrastructure. So here we this Nimbus, Eucalyptus, OpenNebula, and vSphere 4 are represented as virtual infrastructure managers and operating systems. So these are the VI managers and operating systems which are used for only representing for virtualizing the data centers, which is using a very large number of operating systems and also very large number of the servers in clusters to share the environment or to provide the storage as a virtualization here. So here if you see the Nimbus, Eucalyptus, and OpenNebula, the first three what you are seeing are the open source software, and they are available to every public, means they are not restricted to one area, restricted to one environment only. They are, these three are Nimbus, Eucalyptus, and OpenNebula. These are the names of these cloud environments, what your software systems, what you are using. So the first three are open source software, that is you can change your things, that is also supporting Linux environment, and also supporting BSD. Apache version 2 is also there. So the common thing is it is allowing the users to make the changes and to create their own software, or to create their own version. So what are the resources being virtualized or the any provided here is we can create a virtual machine and a virtual cluster by using the Nimbus, and you can create a virtual networking environment by using the Eucalyptus. And then next one here is the OpenNebula. The OpenNebula is used for the virtual machines what you are using monitoring, and also the host monitoring, the virtual network what you are using, the tools what you are representing in that one would be scheduled here. So apart from this, the vSphere 4, that is VS4, what it is doing is it is only a proprietary operating system which is used for the cloud's resource virtualization. Means what it is virtualizing or what it is providing is it is providing resource virtualization, and also some management of the data clusters will be specified here. So what could be the clients or the APIs, what are the languages it is using here is providing the EC2, Amazon EC2, and then next WSRF, CLI. These are the common. If you see, CLI is the common, WS is also the common thing when you are specifying the client or the language what you are providing here. And coming to the hypervisors, the among these above three, Xen, and that is Xen hypervisor, that is a Linux based hypervisor, and also the kernel based hypervisor, that is KVM, has been used, because all these three are supporting the Linux environment. That's why we are using Xen hypervisor and also the KVM hypervisor, whatever we are needed. So what are the interfaces we are using here is the EC2. So here we are EC2 is the Amazon provide one, Elastic Cloud Computing EC2 here. So and also it is providing the Elastic host also. And what are the features of that one here is we can virtualize the network environment to be used by the others if you are using any of the software here, either Nimbus or Eucalyptus or the OpenNebula. While coming to the last one, so this vSphere 4. So what it is specifying here is it is using the API as the graphical user environment, and then next interface as that one, and then portal is also specified, ESX server, and then next EXXI server or any VMware hypervisor can be used for the processing or for managing the virtual systems or the guest operating systems what you are using. And then what could be the interface here is a VMware itself is an interface, and also you can take the vCloud partners to take the to provide these data, to provide these things into the others. And also here the special feature it is providing is it is taking care of the data protection and also providing virtual storage, VMFS, that is a virtual memory file system, dynamic RAM, and then next HA, high availability. All these things are considered into that one. So what these managers, what these managers, virtual infrastructure managers are used for. So these are used for to create virtual machines, and then all these the virtual machines will has been combined to form a virtual cluster. In this virtual cluster, which are being used as the elastic resources to be available with other things, that is other networks or anything what you're representing to form a processing. So all the above three representations what you are using same virtualization concept, that is they can apply Xen hypervisor or that is a kernel based virtual machine architecture to process two things. So here we will see Eucalyptus and vSphere 4 as an examples here. So the first one is then Eucalyptus. So what is Eucalyptus for is we are using this Eucalyptus for virtual networking of our private cloud. So this diagram is the representation of the Eucalyptus, where it is being used for that is providing building the private clouds by establishing virtual networks over the virtual machines, which passes or the which causes through these ethernets and also through the internet also. So what is this is for, what why we are using these Eucalyptus is the main thing here is it is an open source software system, first thing, and also it supports the infrastructure as a service model or the service cloud here. So the main basic thing what it is supporting Eucalyptus is it is supporting the infrastructure as a service, which is one of the model of a cloud. So along with this also it is providing or it is supporting the primer thing, that is the virtual networking here, and it has the capability of managing virtual machines, and also how to process all these things, how to take care of the virtual machines which has been connected to that network will be specified. But what it is not having the proper means possibility of change tackling here is it can't have these virtual storage is not supported in this thing. So and also it is having the support of here is it is creating a private environment to the virtual machines what it is having, and it is being connected to the another network through these public network here. How it is possible means whenever we are getting into that one, we need to interact with the end users. For that purpose what it is doing is it is building the private clouds with the end users. So how come we are taking it is the GMs, and then next if you see there are three different representations in this diagram. So what the diagrammatic representations here it is specifying here is IM and then next GM and then next CM. If you see level wise, first we will see the last one, IM. IM is for the C here ma. In this cluster A and B we are having IMs and then GM. So what is the IM here is the instance manager. Instance manager. So what is this is for is it will control the execution, and it will means make the inspections, and it has the capability of terminating the virtual machine instances on any host when it is running. Means it has a high capability when you are comparing with the normal guest operating systems when you are connected with this thing. So when coming to the ZM, so all these IMs are connected to the GM, that is the group manager, that is through a which network, private network. So all these IMs are formed a group, and we are to maintain all these instance managers, we need to take a manager to look after all these instances. That's why we are using group manager. So this group manager, what it will do here is, it will gather the information from all these IAMs and also schedule these executions of these instances, because all are executing at once means the high availability of the systems or the availabilities of the network what you are specifying will be degraded. So somebody has to there to look after these things. That's why we are using a manager to look after that one. So what is the work of this one here is, it is scheduling the execution and also taking care of only specific instance managers, not all that one, because instance managers have the different works. So where it has to concentrate will be decided by the group manager. And also any network problem is there, or any issue has been raising, what it has to do is nothing but it has to look after the network what it is taking into an account, that is the virtual instance network, that is also specified as the private network. So the clusters, how we are forming a clusters means, it is not simply a group of a machines or the group of the nodes which has been taken to form a cluster. First, what you have to do here is we need to take the nodes which are to be included in this cluster. So there we are naming these things into as the IAMs, and we are taking these IAMs as a group here, and these group of these IAMs are connected to a GM through a private network, which is also specified as a virtual instance network here. So by taking care of the GM, what it is doing here is, it is scheduling the works of the instance managers, which are the particularly concentrating on someone only, because all these IAMs are not having the same workload or the same privileges or any representations here. So that's why in this thing, what it is doing is only on specific instances, it is going to be work on the schedule, all these things. Coming to the next level, that is the highest level, we are having the public network. In these two clusters has been connected to a CM. This CM is specified as a cloud manager. So here, what is the representation, why we are using this cloud manager here is, it is specified as an entry point onto into the cloud for any user or administrator. So if you want to enter into this cloud, if you are taking this network as had been working, the CM will allow the users or anything. Where I am pointing is the entry point for all. So if you take organization ones, users, administrators or anything, so what they have to do is nothing but they can't easily connect to this network directly. What they have to do, they have to take the checkpoint that is at the CM. So what it is doing, it is means it has the capability of querying these node managers to take the information about the resources, and also take the decisions to schedule or to allocate the resources, and also taking any request which has been given by these implementations which has been given by the request of the group managers. All these things will be happen. So in short, what we will do here is, the cloud manager will allow the users or the administrators into this and into the cloud environment here, and it is having the capability of getting the information of the resources what you are having, because the resources will be allocated to many people. So many people are accessing all these things. So if many people are there, the resources shortage will be there. So that's why, how come we are saying that is the shortage one means, we need to take count of all these things, what are connected, who are connecting, who are using, who are not using, all these things has to be considered. So that's why what we need to do is, we need to take care of all these clusters which has been connected. We need to take a manager into an account to be taking care of the cloud what you are having. And also we are maintaining a that is a decision taking also should be taken by this cloud manager also. if any request has been raised by these group managers, there is a possibility of these implementations to be done by the cloud manager, not by the public network. What it is, how these managers, group managers will be connected to this cloud manager here is, we'll have a public network when you are processing this one. So when you are means have the when you have the capability to connect to a private network here is, you need to connect through a public network ma. If you don't have a public network and you are directly connecting to this private network, means it's not been allowed one. Whenever you want to have the network connection like the private cloud or anything, to connect to a private cloud, to connect from a private cloud, what it is needed is, it needs a public network or a public code to process all these things. So likewise, what it is doing in this Eucalyptus, we have the some interaction between these private clouds and then public clouds. How they are interacted is, they are using the internet as a, by placing the calls or by placing some requests, they are interacting with each other. And you can say that message passing technique also we can be specified to to use this message passing. What it is doing, it is also using the internet as a through or the network only. And also it is also providing some security, any cloud applications has been installed, all these things has been considered into that one. So when you are dealing with this Eucalyptus, so this has been implemented on these high level, each system what you are having a high level system component which is having its standalone web service, and it is not depending upon the other, because these are created as a clusters. Cluster means same behavior, say they will means look after, or they will have the chance to work on the same environment only. In short, they will be represented as this. Along with this, what it is doing is, it is having some operations which are being which can perform on the data structures. That is, the data structures means what are the memory storages we are also using, and also providing some web services, some security policies, and also it is it is also working like Amazon Web Service, that is AWS is being specified. So if you want to interact any with other cloud, that is a EC2, what it is doing is, by providing this software or by providing this one, it makes possible to connect to the another environment here. So it is also take the privilege of emulating an environment for storing the user data and also the images of the virtual machines. If you again, I'm saying emulation means you have this probability, or you have the capability of computing by your own, means you have the isolated environment that you can make your own decisions, and you can take the executions to be done by your side there itself. And it is also supporting some protocols or the some software environments also, and it is also having SOAP and REST protocols to be occurred, and also supporting web portal services like CLI, and also it is giving the compatibility with the Amazon EC2 and also Amazon Web Service, AWS services what you are having. So that's about the Eucalyptus. If you see the Eucalyptus, how it is the gathering is, it is taking the nodes into the instance managers. What are the instance managers? We are having the same behavior, or the working on a one environment will be taken as a cluster, and to take the that is care, or the to monitor these managers or the instances, what it is taking is, it is maintaining a group manager which has been connected to these instance managers through a private network. And later we have a cloud manager. So how we are specifying Eucalyptus means, it is a cluster like structure which has been maintained by some group managers with the help of the private networks. And to connect to this in the clusters, we need a public network, and also we need to get into that entry point which is at the cloud manager there itself. So the next example what you are having is the VMware vSphere 4. So which is simply called as a commercial cloud operating system here. So here, what this vSphere 4 is representing, or is offering, is it is offering hardware and software ecosystem which has been developed by the VMware, and it is released in the April 2009. So here the virtualization of the software products has been named by these VMware, and it has been extended its services, and it has been named as the VMware Workstation. And it is also having ESX server. For the ESX means it is a server virtualization. So ESX is a server virtualization what you are using, and it also providing the virtual infrastructure for the server clusters what you are using. Among this, all these, what the vSphere is also, what it is performing here is, it is offering a virtualization support and also giving the resource management to the data center resources what it is having. So it is completely for the private clouds what it is built here. If you see, this is the diagrammatical representation of the vSphere 4. It is having a cloud operating system which can manage the, or which can manage the computings, storages, and the networks resources over these virtualized data centers. If you see in these, the services has been divided, and the applications has been divided, the clouds also has been divided here. So underneath there are the, it is having two clouds, internal cloud and external cloud. It is maintaining a cloud into that thing, that is, it is having its own disk arrays, and then it is having own grid structures, and it is a rack of the servers which has been maintained to store the data or to process all these things. Whenever it wants to connect to the another environment, it is giving the chance to connect the environment by using the external cloud here. So here, uh, what is the advantage, or the what is the system is specifying it is, we can say this as the first cloud operating system which is supporting availability, security, and the scalability, and it is providing all these things as a cloud computing services. If you see VMware vSphere 4, where I am pointing here, where the spotlight is there, these are the application services provided by the VMware vSphere 4. So here the cloud operating system what you are using has the main features which are availability, security, and scalability. So here, what are the things we are using? Apart from these, what are the things we are using here is, it is providing two sets of, or the two suites of functional services individually, which are indeed specified as the infrastructure services and the application services. So, and also it is having some three component package intended, which is mainly for the virtualization purpose only. So it is using all these things for the virtualization, and they are vComputed, which is supported by the EXS server, that is a virtualization server, and again virtualization server another version, and is also using the DRS as a virtualization libraries. DRS is the libraries which are used for the VMware. You need to perform the computation. You need, for computation you need the servers, and also you need to take the libraries into an account. That's why DRS is supporting all these things. And coming to the storage, for the storage purpose it is using VMS and VMFS also. So what is the VMS or the VMFS? You specified VM means virtual machine storage, VMFS means it is a virtual machine file storage or the file system we can specify. So here it is also having thin provisioning libraries. So thin provisioning libraries means which are being taken as a familiar, that most of the libraries which are used for the storage can be specified or can be used in this provisioning. Okay, so it is having the, and the provisioning means it is the capability of storing, or it is having the capability of accessing things to be stored here. And also it is having the V network, which is offering the distributed switching and also some networking functions to be connected with the other or with inside that one. So here, what are these packages will do? These packages what you are using means the vCompute, vStorage, vNetwork. These packages and it will interact with the hardware servers, disks, and networks in the data center. Where it is situated here is, see here. So if you see this one, You are having disk structures, hardware servers, and the networks. All these things are connected. All these things are specified. So these infrastructure functions means compute, storage, and network. What they are having is they can have the capability of communicate with other external clouds also. That's why we are using external cloud to take the privilege of accessing some clouds and get the data, or to give the data, or to give the some computing mechanisms to others also. Along with this, we are having another one, which is here is application service. So the application services, what it is also divided into three types: availability, security, and scalability. So availability means whenever you are having the system failure or anything, what it has to do is nothing but any component has been failure, not all the complete system. If any component has been failed or any system has been failed, what it has to do is nothing but it should make the system to be available to compute the that is the resume task has to be done in a successful manner. That's why what it is using here is it is using the vMotion, storage vMotion, high availability. Any fault has been occurred, how we are going to tolerate, and then how we are getting the components to be worked with apart from this failure also. If it has data has been lost, how we are recovering the data has to be considered from the VMware. And whereas coming to the security package, it is supporting vShield zones and the VM safe. So here these are the things we have to specify when you are considered with the security purposes. And coming to the scalability, we are using the library files and then hot add as a means extensible for processing these things into an account. If any readers of if any things what you are doing will have to connect with these things, what you have to do is nothing but we need to take these applications into an account to be processed. Means what are doing here, they are processing the applications and they are also taking some applications to be done. Existing applications means these are being developed and earlier and they are ready to use it by the system, which has been connected to this vMsphere or the vSphere by using the vCenter suite. So here we need to take a interface to connect with this environment for this application environment. So all these applications are developed one. When you go for the right side, you are having the future applications. These are using the facilities of these infrastructure services and the application services, and also the infrastructure what it is having. By using all these things, the VMware is that is executing or sorry deploying or developing these applications to be used by the users or organizations by other clouds in future. So that's about the vSphere or the vSphere 4 what you are using for these purpose. It is where it is used for is we can use for application development also, we can use for the applications what you are having. So there is a software and you have seen the structure of the software, how it is looking, how internally what it is containing, how it is connecting with the others and it is connecting with itself to communicate or to get the data itself to be done. All these things has been come under the vSphere 4. So that's about cloud operating operating systems virtualization environment. Coming to the next one, that is the trust management in virtualized data center. Whenever we are dealing with the data centers or anything data, I mean, so if you simply deal with your data means first thing will come into our mind is the whether it is a trustable or not. We need to take into an account. So we need to take these things into an account and we need to provide a layer which has been that is whatever the data you are providing, you are giving to the other data centers being secured, has been protected by us. There is no any that is intrusion is there or any attacker will be able to get your data. All these things has to be keep in mind when you are storing your data in others environment. whenever you are giving a thing to the other person also, you will think for a while whether this person will return this thing, that is in which way you are giving, means without any scratches or without anything. Means if you are giving a book, what is you will say whether whether they will tear off or any pages will miss, like that you will think, because that book or that thing is belongs to you, because you will think that is mine, I want to keep it safe. Because why you want to keep it safe means you want to use in this future purpose also, means in future also you want to use this thing and get the information about that all these things. So that's why what you will think, whenever you are handling your things to the others, you will keep in mind that whether these persons will take care of my things as I am or not, you have to think about that thing. So likewise, whenever you are giving the confidential information to others, what it has to do here is you need to think that whether they are have the capability to protect my data or not, you have to think. So that's why these trust management has to make into the consideration. So if you see the traditional computing or the traditional architectures, what we are doing, we are making these files to be protected by passwords, or we can simply saving our files in our devices, and we are locking our devices with the passwords or with any security mechanisms we are providing. There is a folder locking system is there. All these things will come into account when you are dealing with your own. Likewise, what you have to do, this virtual environment, what you are doing, that is the data centers, has to be take care of all these things, and they have to maintain safely. Like this, all these things has to be considered. So when you are dealing with this virtual machine monitor, that is the hypervisor environment, what it has to do here is it is providing, or it is having a layer of the software between the operating system and the software, that is a system environment what you are choosing. So when you are dealing with a virtual machine, it entirely encapsulates the guest operating system state when it is running inside it. So what is an encapsulation means, it can be copied and it can be shared over another network, and it will be removed from the another one. Means we have to take these VM security into an account. So that's why that is VMM has to provide a secure isolation environment, and also it has the ability to control these VMM also, because you are simply allowing a person or any operating system to be into your hardware, and you are able to access all these things. It's not the means one appreciable one. So you need to look after the privileges. Likewise, I said, whenever you are allowing a person into your environment, you need to decide what are the privileges you need to give to him. Means how far you are going to allow him to access your environment. You are simply allowing him, means giving the access to all these things, means it's not a that is a safe one. What you have to do, you need to take the privilege of, means you need to take an action there. So you need to set the boundaries, so that person will be accessible by that point only. Means we need to set the protection mechanisms, or we need to take the privileging factors to be decided for these guest operating systems what you are using. So for this, we are having the VM based intrusion detection. So what are the intrusions? The intrusions can be unauthorized that is accesses which has been done through a computer, which can be done from a local network or network users, or can be specified here. How we are going to detect these means what you are going how you are going to detect all these things here. We are using the IDS. The IDS is used to identify any unauthorized access is there or not. You are simply accessing your phone or simply accessing your device, and what you are thinking is nobody will access my phone, means it's a very foolish thing, because the technology has been developed rapidly, and it has the capability of usage in a wrong way also. So that's why you want to know if any unauthorized access is there. Wait for a while, ma. So whenever you are considering the unauthorized accesses, so first we need to take an IDS. So IDS will be built on our operating system, what you are using. So it is the capability of detecting the intrusion actions, because you will have the systems will have the information who will connect or the, so any unauthorized access is there, so it will identify and it will give the information to the administrator there itself, and how it is performing and how it is going to be performed means there are the different methods which are implemented on these VM based IDS. So the first one is we are taking this IDS to be done on the independent process on each virtual machine. Means if we are having 10 virtual machines, these IDS has been included, has been added to on 10 virtual machines there. If it is means time taking, or if you are taking that as you have to take these monitors to be specified for 10 virtual machines, because you need to take care of the 10 virtual machines IDS, and you need to go into that system to take these things to be done. So here to overcome this thing, we take the high privileged VM. So here we need to specify these things to be IDS to be enlarged, or there has been means secured by these hypervisor. IDS has been used, these hypervisor came into an account, and the other one here is the IDS what you are using will be integrated to the hypervisor, and also at the same hardware what you are using. Means the whole system is also having the IDS one. Means first one is the virtual machines what you are using will be protected, or the will be have the intrusion detection. And then second method or the second way here is we need to protect, or the we need to make take care, or the we need to make this hypervisor to be handled here. So that's why we are taking VD that is high privileged virtual machine into an account. So another one is we need to take these IDS which has been means integrated at the hypervisor and also the host operating system here. So who is proposing these IDS to be run on the virtual machines what you are using? There is hypervisors as a high privileged virtual machines. There is a Garflinker and Rosenblum. So there has been proposed that if we are using the second method, then it will be easy to process, because the things what you are processing in the virtualization is completely based on the hypervisors only. When you are when you are taking these virtual machine monitor has a high privileged one, then there is no any problem when you need to access all these things when you need to came into an account. So that's why here we are taking the IDS into an account. So here policy engine, policy module, policy framework, and then next OS interface library is there. What is these things are specified, or the whenever you are connected to a network, it is having some policies or the some cookies or something representations when you are taking into an account. Who will interact, who will have the access to your systems, or who will take care that these things will occur here. So what this policy framework will do here is this policy framework will have the uh, characteristics called the monitoring, which has been the events in different operating systems of the guest virtual machines, and also it is having the interface library, and for getting the information about all these guest operating systems, it need to trace the these things. So here it is using the P trace here. So policy tracing. So here what is the tracing is doing is it is allowing that the secure policy has been done and there is no any intrusion has been occurred here. So if you want to take the intrusions into an account, what it has to do is nothing but it needs to take all these things to be happen, and whether these things you are getting or whether these things you are forming will be from the guest operating system is the real one or not. Any intrusion or there or right any processing or there, what you have to do is nothing but it has to analyze. So for this, what it is doing is it needs to analyze the intrusion action when it has been occurred. So when you are means allowing an user to write, means to update anything from your side, what are the things we need to take here is we need to take who want to write into that one. Means if you are taking shared memory access, how many systems can write can it share this system, How many systems can have the policy of the write only, read only? Like this, we need to store all these things. For that one, we need to maintain a log. So you have the logbook like structure, where there were you are entered, and then next you will be um, get on that one. How we are going to enter the logbook means you what the system you are using, at what time you have been logged in, what time you are logged out, like that you are entering. Like that, what we are doing here is we need to maintain the logbook here, sorry, log service here. So what this log service here doing here is, it is taking care of these virtual machines, what they are having the access to their hardware, who is trying to write that one, who is trying to read your hardware, or who is trying to make the alterations to that one. So if any alterations has been done, the alteration has been done by this guest operating system at this time. So whether this person is has been means has the ability to write or ability to read or not, you will decide that. How come I will decide all these things? I have the permission, I have the permission slip or the permission things to be monitored by me. Means if I want to take care of my things, that is my operating system or anything, I have to know whether any people is getting into my system, how far I am allowing them to be known by me. So that's why this IDS log service is completely has to be implemented, and it is completely based on the operating system what you are using, that is a kernel based one. So when an system what you are using, so these logbook also having the information about the guest operating systems, and then what the data they are doing, what the permissions you are having, all the information will be there. So whenever attacker is been entered into the system, the log services will be manipulated. So the IDS will be have the capability that whenever attacker or the whenever intruder has been entered into our system, then there could be no change, or there could be no effect on these log services what you are using. So if you are allowing these things to be happen, what it is doing is it can be maintain the integrity of the data, and also have the security policies to be done. So not only the IDS, we can use the honey pots and then honey nets also to prevent these intruders, and then we can use them as the intrusion detection also. So how they can do here is they can means what they will attract, and then next they will provide the fake system view to the attackers, in order to what they are doing is to protect this real system. Means the real system is not affected. What they are doing is they're providing the fake system to be affected, and then next they will getting all these things to be happen. So when you are dealing with the honeypot, it is purposely a defective system, because the operating system what you are using will cheat and monitor the actions of an attacker. And when you are forming, or when you are using this honeypot, what it is doing is it is divided into the two forms here, physical form and virtual form. So here the guest operating system what you are using here is can run their applications on their virtual machines in when you are using the guest op that is honeypot, which is not a means appreciable one, because whenever you are using, they can prevent the actions is not the specified one here. So that's about the ideas, and we are having one example here. In this example, I'm taking the establishment of the trusted zones, which is for the virtual clusters for multiple tenants. So this is the diagram here. In this diagram we are seeing tenants are there, the tenants, tenant 1 and tenant 2 represented, and we are having a structure that is called the cloud. So this one is a technique for establishing these trust zones to this virtual clusters what you are using. So here this one is EMC, and the next VMware has been used these things to be done, and it is also allowing the security middleware for these trusted zones. And how means where it has been formed, or where it has been used here is the which has been used on the private clouds. So what we are doing is we need to create, or we need to specify a trust zones on virtual infrastructure. So here if we in this diagram, if you see, there are the two tenants there, hash1 and hash2 has specified. The tenants have their operating systems, and they have applications to their operating system, and is having their own file system, and also they are connected to an environment which is the cloud one. So here in this diagram, the physical infrastructure what you are using is shown at the bottom. If you see, so it is also marked as a what it is using their cloud provider, what you are specifying. The virtual clusters what you are using or any infrastructures or what you are providing can be represented as the means tenants here. Means they are the virtual, they are not a real one. So how they are connected to what they are connected will be specified as a public cloud, which is a globe-like structure is there, and they can be easy to communicate with each others. So if you see some arrowed boxes in the yellow color is there on the left and right side of one. If you see on the left side of that one, so these are the descriptions of the arrows, what they are providing, what their services, what they are doing, and what are the zoning boxes, security functions, what are the access managements actions they has to be taken. All these things has to be specified in the 4 levels here. So if you see the 4 levels, the first one is the identity federation. So here the identity federation means we need to specify our identification. We need to give the identification to our to the public clouds, and also we have the isolated virtual machine environment in that one. So we need to take the control. If you want to take the control or anything, what it has to do is nothing but it will provide all these things into an account. And the access management here is how far you will access the things which has been given by the cloud, because it is having the disk arrays and then servers and then the network infrastructures also for communication. And it is also providing security information, means how far we are getting the things to be done, and how far these organization means these events will be managed, all these things will be done. And coming to the right side of the arrow boxes what you are using are the functions and the actions which has been applied between the tenant environments and the provider and the global communications. So here if you see what are the things here, it will include here is the first three will be done between the public cloud, and then next the tenant 2. And if you want to take tenant 1 and tenant 2, if you want to take tenant 1 and tenant 2 into an action, what the thing is they will take the in between one, that is the data loss prevention will be the means what are the small circles with these mesh symbol represented here is. So there are the interactions between these users providers and among users themselves. So if you see this one this one is the communication between tenant 1 and tenant 2. This one is communication between the tenant and then public, that is cloud physical infrastructure and then cloud here. If you see this one, this is the communication between the tenant and the cloud provider here. So what they will do and what they will perform will be given by here. Means when you are dealing with these things, so you can have the infrastructure from the malware. You can insulate, means you can protect your infrastructure from the malware, trojans, and then cyber criminals. So how we are going to take into an account means we are having the strong authentication, and we are providing the anti-malware things, and also we are using the worm containment, intrusion detections, encryptions, decryption mechanisms. All these things are applied to the trusted zones, and they are able to take into an account. So and what it is doing here is what it is also allowing users, that is tenants, to be interact with each other. Whenever they are trying to interact with each other, what it has to do is nothing but they should be aware of what the information to be shared between these people. If you don't have the information, if don't have the probability of accessing or the probability of giving all these things, what it happens here is the data loss will occur. Means this person will have the data of this person, or either this will have. So that's why what it has to do to take this an account, we need to maintain a mechanism called the data loss prevention. Means we need to take the isolation of the information from other tenants. There is no, if you want to interact with the other person, okay, you can interact with the other person, but you are not being able to take the information from these from any of the tenant there. And at last one we are having, that one is the what is the interaction between these tenants and the cloud providers. So here they will request for the services. Means if you want to access a disk array, you can raise a request and you go for the access disk array. If you want to access the server, you can go for the accessing of this disk array, that is a server also. But what for you are not being and able to do here is the, means you can't take the information from the cloud providers, or you can't manipulate the infrastructure, or you can't take these discouraged data to be used by the wrong way. All these things has not been considered. So that's why what it is maintaining encryption and key management and the tokenization has been maintained to protect all these things from the tenants. So this is the multi-tenant architecture. Multi-tenant means the global the cloud has been used specified, means the cloud is being used by the multiple peoples at a time. So how they are fostered, how they are doing all these things into an account, how they are processing in those things are, they should know what they are doing. Means if they are not able to perform all these things, what they will have the processing of losing the data. So that's why they need to know their responsibilities, and also they need to know their that is boundaries, how far they can allow someone, or how far they can go into the another one's environment to be known by the others. So that's about this one. This ends your second unit. So what means, if you see this end result, that is end to view, that is a security events will be done. So in this units we have seen what is the virtualization, what the things we can virtualize, and also we have seen different virtualizing environments, and have seen different virtualization examples also. That's about second unit. In next session I will start the third unit, which is about your completely about your clouds only. Means to up until the second units we have seen only the first. In the first unit you have seen um, only the introduction part, means what is a cloud and what you are able to use in this cloud, like that we are specifying. And in the second unit you came to know about the virtualization. What is an virtualization, how can you guys virtualization will be done, what are the levels of the virtualization, different examples will be considered. And coming to the third unit, you will completely see about only the clouds, what are the processing models, what are the different cloud environments you have seen there. That is Google Cloud, App Engine is there, Amazon Web Services is there, Microsoft Azure is there. So different cloud environments will be coming to in this account, and we will see all these things and in a very keen way. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.